Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Blessings and love in the name of the Most High. Good morning. Welcome to Scripture and Eggs. This is a new segment that we're going to be doing pretty much every morning from now on. So I want to welcome you to one of our first segments of Scripture and Eggs. I want to talk this morning about a couple of things that were heavy on my mind. One of the things that I did last night after I got home from work was I sat and watched the released dash cam footage of the murder of the brother Philando Castillo. And I put in a post on Facebook that what I saw in that video and what I know about the judicial outcome really hit me hard. It did. You know, I have to admit, I sat and I cried when I saw that video. But it sparked a couple of things that I wanted to share with you from things that it says in the Bible. If you look in the what is referred to as the Gospels, in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16, it says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Now, I want you to understand a couple of things. Our children, it seems to be, in this day and age, and in the days and ages of the recent past, it's not just something that's newly come up, but mothers and fathers of our black children, and even you mothers and fathers yourselves, I want you to understand that every time we go out and we send our children out into the world, into the streets, we are sending them out like sheep in the midst of wolves, as a comparison, as an analogy, because the predatory nature of our judicial system, as particularly perpetrated upon our young black men, is a valid comparison. We are sending them out like sheep in the midst of wolves. And we need to recognize that. But the other part of that passage that I just read says, because of this, because that is the case, then we need to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. Now, this is not saying that we need to be passive, and passive to the degree that we allow ourselves to be mistreated. No, not at all. What it is saying, though, is that we need to use our minds, our intellect, our wisdom to avoid the wolves. We need to use our minds first. Now, situations like what happened with our brother Philando Castillo, I know that it sparks us, especially you young men, listen to me. I know that it sparks you to want to go out there and just rant and rave and tear some stuff up, right? It is frustrating. It is infuriating. And the anger is real, and I get that. But this isn't the wise course of action. If our goal is to defeat this mindset, if our goal is to defeat the wolf, and we are sheep in the midst of wolves, then trying to stand toe-to-toe with the wolf is not a wise maneuver. And make no mistake, I'm not saying that to belittle or to diminish or to trivialize our power in any way, shape, or form. But from a realistic standpoint, in this society, in so far as they have all of the money and all of the power, by way of analogy, we are sheep in the midst of wolves. If it were not so, then this type of thing wouldn't continually be happening with impunity. They would not continue to keep getting away with it, and we would not continue to keep not doing anything about it. So if we are to defeat the wolf, then our approach has to be one of wisdom. It has to be wise. So let's look at it. What has been our approach? Well, protest. Protest has not worked. What is the definition of insanity, my brothers and sisters? To continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. This has not been an effective approach to defeating the wolf. They do not care about your protest. As a matter of fact, our protest is only fuel for their indignation. We have appealed to their morality. They claim to be Christians. They claim to be, people that go to church and believe the Bible. They claim to be people of humanity, people who are protectors and servers, or who engage in a profession of nobility, such as a law enforcement officer. And so, in all of these senses, it has seemed reasonable in times past for us to appeal to those sensibilities and to address the morality of these circumstances and say, this isn't right. Where is your humanity? Where is your humanity? Where is your morality? Well, it would seem to me that the appeal to morality has not worked. And so there is a different, they seem to be operating on a different plane of morality than the rest of us are. They seem to be worshiping a God who operates on a different plane of morality than the rest of us are. So, to appeal to their sense of morality has not worked. To appeal to them politically has not worked. We cannot look to the system, to the judicial system, to our politicians, to our lawmakers to make a difference. And so what is going to be a wise and effective approach to defeating the wolf? The first thing I need for you brothers to understand comes from another passage. This is a letter that was written to the believers in the town of Ephesus. This is from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." What does it mean to walk circumspectly? What it means to walk circumspectly is just, it simply means to be aware, to be conscious of the things that are going on around you. In the military, they use the term, keep your head on the swivel. So that you have a conscious understanding of what's going on all around you. And brothers, when you turn on the television and when you see these kinds of things continue to happen, you need to be aware of the circumstances that are going on around you and understand what your approach to these circumstances must be as you walk throughout your day. If you are, for example, a zoologist or a zookeeper or some sort of, person that deals with animals, particularly dangerous animals. When the zookeeper walks into the lion's cage, or when the people who are out in the jungle or in the woods, when they're out there and they know that these dangerous animals are out there, you can best believe that they understand the circumstances that they're putting themselves in. They understand the nature of these animals. They understand what their surroundings are. They're not just walking through those situations believing that they have some sort of star power where they cannot be affected by those circumstances. You have to understand the circumstances that are around you. And when dealing with the police, and when you walk out of when you walk out of your house in the morning, you have to understand that these are the potential circumstances that you may run into, and to prepare yourself for that and to be ready to deal with it in a wise manner. Because Philando Castile and his fiancée and his child, they were just people going about their business, just like you and I do every morning. It could have been you or me. So we have to be wise about our circumstances and be ready to deal with it in a wise. Now, I know that you may say to yourself, well, we shouldn't have to do certain things to the police. The police are the ones that are wrong. Don't blame the victim. The police are the ones that are cowards. They are the ones that are doing these things. And I understand all that. I'm not trying to argue that, and I agree with it. But you cannot argue that point. You cannot make a difference in that circumstance if you are dead. You cannot argue the injustice or the immorality of the system when you are dead. So at the moment of a traffic stop, at the moment of you being in confrontation with the wolf, I need you to be wise and to do the things that would allow you to be able to make your arguments and to stage our fights and our battles on another day. The last thing here is from a letter to the believers in Rome, Romans 12:16. It says, be of the same mind toward one another. Mind not high things, but condescend to the men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. We need to pay attention to one another. We need to look out for one another. We need to remember that this kind of thing that affects one of us affects us all. It could have been any one of us. It could have been any one of our children. Don't think that because you live in a certain neighborhood or because you drive a certain car or because you have a certain kind of profession that it doesn't affect you. We have to remember and keep each other in prayer and help each other understand that we do not walk alone. My brothers and sisters, be safe today. Love one another. Lift each other up in prayer. And remember, we do not walk alone. I love you.